Good morning, I'm Wendy Burke, and this is the CBC Morning Report for Friday, October 15th. In our top story, the Barbados Association of Professional Engineers, BAPE, wants to ensure that housing, whether private, public, relief, or permanent, is built to the standards of the building code. President Lieutenant Colonel Trevor Brown is our guest this morning, and he has some concerns about purpose-built housing post-Elsa and into the next hurricane season. Good morning to you, Lieutenant Colonel Brown.
Good morning to you, Wendy, and thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Yes. Now, you have been making the rounds in the local media recently with your concerns about what is or what isn't up to the building code. Tell us what would have prompted it.
Well, what prompts it is that this is the role of a professional engineering association, to make sure that standards of engineering are maintained in a particular community. This is done in the interest of the safety of the residents and the citizens of that community. And this is why engineering is actually important, especially in this complex world where there are a significant number of challenges and unforeseen circumstances that can arise. So our role by design is to make sure that minimum standards are implemented and maintained in the interests of public safety.
Okay, now you had some specific concerns with regard to some housing which the ministry will be undertaking for the Hurricane Elsa victims, namely the steel houses. Were you questioning the integrity of the house or just whether they were up to the code?
Essentially, well, first of all, let me say that the Barbados Association of Professional Engineers is aware that the Honorable Minister of Housing, Dr. William Duguid, has raised concerns about our comments on the ministry's decision to import these metal houses. We find it more than surprising that Minister Duguid appears to be unaware of the role of a professional engineering association in offering public comment on matters relating to engineering, and particularly where these are matters of public safety or otherwise concerning the common public good. What concerns us is the overall appreciation of the need to engineer these complex projects proactively, to do it right the first time. The minister appears to be suggesting that his ministry should somehow be above question, even by a properly registered and internationally accredited professional body of local engineers, and on matters specifically related to the Barbados Building Code, which is a matter of national jurisdiction, the capacity of local artisans and building professionals to perform, and on decisions at the political level to transfer potential local entrepreneurial opportunities offshore to China at a time of growing unemployment and shrinking opportunities for local businesses. This concerned us, and we raised those concerns genuinely and honestly in the interest of doing things better in Barbados.
Okay, now in terms of housing, if you were to give the solution post-Elsa to be able to create that 500 plus in the time frame you have, because the people are now either renting or lodging with relatives, etc., what would be your best fit in terms of the type of construction that should be undergone?
Well, ready, that is a slam dunk, easily answered question, and it wouldn't be my best fit. All we need to do is to look back recently at the decision taken by the Honorable Prime Minister when we were faced with a similar situation during the COVID, and we needed that isolation facility in St. Lucie to be done under extremely difficult circumstances during a COVID shutdown. And she turned to, who did she turn to? China. She turned to local professional expertise, local artisans, and the result has been so outstanding that, in fact, BAP awarded our award of excellence last year to that team that did that project. So you had a situation where last year, in an emergency situation, when housing and emergency complex hospital type emergency housing was needed, and this country turned to local professionals and local artisans, and they delivered on time and in budget. And now that you have an opportunity to build an industry, to do far more simple public housing, you are saying to us that this is beyond our capacity and that this needs to be done externally. It boggles the mind.
But we already do have these steel type houses here in Barbados. There's a local company that produces them here, is constructing them. There's some already up. They've been up maybe over 5 years now. So, what essentially are the issues with the steel? Is it whether or not this
But,
particular
but, but,
type
but
will be
when
built too close to the water?
But you're asking the wrong person because we never said there was anything wrong with steel. In fact, in our initial statement, we suggested that steel is a particularly resilient building material. All we said was that we had to ensure that there are some areas of concern, and we thought that it was necessary, as always, to ensure that we were conforming to our national building code in addressing these areas. This is called preemptive prevention. So there's never, and it is more than 5 years. Steel buildings have been in Barbados for many years. Um, back in Hoyts Village, I recall that a series of steel buildings were put up and they worked very well. That is in the middle of the country. All we raised was the concerns that if you're going to start put these things, say on the south coast, where they may be exposed to the corrosive atmosphere, we wanted to make sure that proper steps were taken to make sure that they would be resilient, they would continue to be there, and that the housing solutions would be sustainable. I mean,
Yes.
so all we were saying is, let us do it right. There has never been any point where BAP questioned the use of steel building. What we questioned was the decision to exclude local expertise in coming up with the solution.
Okay, and finally, are there any other measures that you think should be put in place to help us post ELSA in terms of the construction?
The primary solution is proactive, preventative engineering. In other words, we need to solve problems before they occur. Barbados can no longer afford to solve problems after they have been created. The reason we send people to university to do engineering is to learn the skills of doing that, solving problems before the problems occur. And the way to do that is by discussion, interaction, by argument, by looking at different points of view, and thereby arriving at the best possible solution. This is what BAP is all about. This is what engineering is all about, and this is what we're calling for. And let me say that any minister or anyone else who do not understand the value of that management approach is missing a fundamental solution for excellence. And BAP will not be intimidated in moving from that approach to doing it proactively, collectively, and using our best brains to come up with the best solution. That is what we do. It is what we will continue to do. And too bad if anyone is upset.
Well, on that note, I wish to thank you for joining us live this morning, Lieutenant Colonel Trevor Brown, the President of the Barbados Association of Professional Engineers. And let's
Thank you
hope
very
that
much.
you keep assisting this country in moving us forward in terms of our building code. Thank you and do
Thank
have a
you.
great morning.
You do too. Thank you.
Up next, updates on the COVID-19 pandemic. A total of 320 people were identified as COVID-19 positive from Wednesday, October 13, among the 2,551 tests conducted by the Basto Santos Public Health Laboratory. Of the 133 males and 187 females who make up the new cases, 69 people are under the age of 18. There are now 578 people in isolation facilities and 2,519 in home isolation. Under the National Vaccination Program for COVID-19, the total number of people with at least one dose is 143,661. while the total number of people who are fully vaccinated is 114,570. Guyana's COVID-19 response has been boosted with the donation of several tents by the U.S. government.
Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony says the tents will be used to extend vaccination services and provide comfortable environments for persons taking their jabs.
This donation of these tents would certainly help us to extend our service, to make sure that people who are coming to get vaccinated would be in a much more comfortable environment. We are very grateful, and because of this we have been able to extend our program and being able to roll out the vaccination program in such an effortless manner.
United States Ambassador to Guyana Sarah Ann Lynch says the U.S. will continue to partner with the Ministry of Health to ensure equitable distribution of vaccines across the country.
I'm very grateful to the Minister and his leadership to encourage every Guyanese to get vaccinated, and the Ministry's willingness to go where the people are. The United States is a partner in this regard, since the very essence of our vaccine support in Guyana is to ensure that there is equitable and equal distribution of COVID-19 vaccine to every Guyanese.
Meanwhile, a representative of UNICEF Guyana and Suriname, Nicholas Prawn, says UNICEF is committed to supporting Guyana through the pandemic.
UNICEF is committed to continuing our support to Guyana and going the extra mile to ensure a resilient recovery, keeping in mind that no one is safe.
The much-anticipated reopening of Indonesia's famed tourist island Bali has seen a slow start with no international flights scheduled. As of yesterday, fully vaccinated travelers from 19 countries, including China, India, and France, can enter Bali. But visitors must first serve a 5-day quarantine in a hotel.
On the island of Bali, this is Kuta Beach, one of Indonesia's most popular tourist attractions. For months, some of Bali's famed beaches were closed due to the pandemic. Now many say they are feeling optimistic the worst is over.
I hope tourists will come back, just like before. I'm getting my surfboards ready.
Shortly after the pandemic began, Indonesia shut its borders to tourists. The restrictions had a devastating effect on Bali's economy. As hotels and restaurants closed, thousands of people faced financial hardship.
Before the pandemic, there were around 3 to 5 people each day who wanted to learn how to surf. Now, there's no one.
A few months ago, Indonesia was the global epicenter of the virus, with thousands of people dying every day. But after months of tragedy, infections have declined and a vaccine drive has been accelerated. On the first day of its reopening, no flights arrived at the international terminal. Officials say it may take weeks or months before the industry properly restarts.
In November, according to our data, there are bookings from China, South Korea and Japan. Hopefully the bookings will keep going up.
Some local business owners are hopeful they will be able to revive their businesses as restrictions are further eased.
If the regulations were simpler, more tourists would come. We Balinese, we work in tourism, just want Bali to be normal again as soon as possible.
Like many in the industry, she fears a compulsory 5-day hotel quarantine may put off visitors. The partial reopening of Indonesia's borders is just the first step in rejuvenating the country's tourism industry, and experts say they are confident the industry will begin to recover in coming months. some are confident the appeal of Bali remains unchanged.
This is the magic of Bali. I think that's why I'm optimistic that Bali will rebound, will revive again.
More than 6 million travellers visited Bali in 2019, and those in the tourism industry are hoping they and others will soon return.
It's time now for a preview of what's coming up on Morning Barbados. And for that, we say good morning to Pearson Igor Ignatius.
Igor Ignatius, love it indeed. Good morning to Wendy, Ayanthi, Iris, Burke. Good morning. How are you?
I am wonderful, Pearson.
Good. Your names are lovely, actually. Ignatius, what's the other one? Ignatius?
Igor.
Igor.
Yes,
Beautiful
it has
indeed.
a strength to it, you know?
Absolutely right. I mean,
does,
Igor himself
it
being a
does.
very strong person, right?
Exactly.
Sounds like me. Thanks, Wendy. Folks, when you join me here at 6:30 on Morning Barbados today, we'll share with you the story of a Barbadian man who discovered his talent at DIY, doing it yourself. And so he's been doing some great work with rum barrels. And so he's been moving to the point now where he's opened his own business. He owns now Barrel Decor. And we'll talk to him about that journey as well as he discovered that passion. We'll also hear today the story of the author of the book, Lighting the Path. It tells the story of a woman who gave birth to a beautiful little baby who was born with heart challenges and who then at 8 months old had some brain injury and ever since then has been bedridden. But she shares her challenges, but she shares her successes as well. And maybe that can guide you if you're met with such a situation as well. So she joins me to tell her story. And then too, we'll go all the way to Dubai to meet the double R's, Roston Chase and Roddy Estwick, just ahead of the upcoming T20 World Cup. And so that's just a little bit of what you'll experience when you join me here at 6:30. Iris, back to you.
I will be seeing you in a bit, Igor Ignatius. So we'll take another break and return with more news. A recent local study has found that many Barbadians are facing a myriad of issues resulting from COVID-19 fallout. And if their medical modeling of cases is used, it won't augur well for social interaction. Special Advisor to the Prime Minister on Poverty Alleviation, Corey Lane, says the study by Professor Wayne Devonish showed anxiety and other issues, now termed coronaphobia, are real. He said the absence of avenues to turn to for relief and relaxation, like entertainment and religion, greater fallout is coming.
We've seen an increase in domestic violence. We've seen a reduction in elder care and even an increase in elder abuse. All these studies are bearing out this is what is happening across our society as well as many other societies. We've seen the increase in suicide and emotional and psychological devastation of many, many societies. And we ask ourselves the question, what is the social issues have not been impacted by COVID-19.
Mr. Lane queried the fears and anxiety translating into coronaphobia and how are the issues being addressed.
With the increase in cases, as the modeling shows us surpassing 500 cases per day, if we continue on the current trajectory, we can see that a lot of people will be suffering from coronaphobia, not wanting corona to touch ourselves, our households, and our loved ones. But you know, the other side to this gives me great pleasure, and that is how are we practically addressing each of these issues. I can tell you that I feel confident and I am very happy that I am able to observe sector by sector by sector, actually not asleep behind the wheel, but getting very little sleep, trying to address each of the things we just mentioned. So you know that the child care board has gone in an extra gear, people's empowerment and elder affairs, extra gear. The Ministry of Education meeting around the clock to see how to get back in person classes. So we know that all the sectors are working extra and beyond the call of duty to ensure that we address each of these issues.
Education officials in Jamaica say thousands of students remain unaccounted for 2 months into the new school term. The acting chief education officer made the revelation before the Public Administration Appropriations Committee.
When the 2020 to 2021 school year ended, approximately 120,000 students were unaccounted for. Deemed a crisis, the Ministry of Education was forced into action. After going into the field, the PAAC was told 45,000 of the students were found.
The team was able to re-engage, communicate and support in a targeted way 25,000 of those students. So we were able to identify the student, track them, engage with them, finding out what was happening, and we were able to see 25,000 of those students participating in summer school, and the family support was provided.
Fast forward to the new academic year, and a number of students have still not attended school.
The last data coming in would show 26% out. We are seeing 74%.
No, in week 3, so we're up to 74% at this point.
Yes.
What are we going to be doing to make sure that we follow up to get the additional 26% of the students unaccounted for?
The Ministry of Education is trying to bridge the gap through its yard-to-yard Finding the Child initiative. Acting Permanent Secretary Dr. Grace McLean outlined how it will work.
A part of the questions that we will ask the parents would be what would be preventing these children from coming to school, and based on the responses they provide and the categories they fall in, whether they are students on path or whatever other category, we will try to analyze the data to see how best the support can be provided.
In sports, there's a call for the future of sport on the island to be critically assessed and a way forward charted, especially as all the stakeholders are grappling with the fallouts due to the impacts of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. This call comes from Dr. Melissa Branford-Jones, president of the Barbados Boxing Association. CBC's Anne-Marie Burke tells us more.
Like all contact sports here on the island, boxing has rarely felt the negative effects of COVID-19 restrictions and lockdowns. From cancellation of their major competitions to athletes struggling to maintain their training and physical and mental health, it has been quite the challenge. But the National Federation, led by Dr. Melissa Branford-Jones, has been doing all they can to keep their members engaged.
For boxing, as a small federation that traditionally has enrolled at-risk young people, the situation is dire. We've tried to help ourselves. We have engaged our athletes as much as we can, given the circumstances. Our Athletes Commission, an organization mandated by AIBA, our international governing body, in collaboration with our Coaches Commission, has been developing and will soon roll out an online training program for our athletes. The BOA has been instrumental in keeping our minds engaged and educated by offering several online seminars for all federations, athletes, coaches, and other interested persons.
The international world of sport has continued to function, with many sports still hosting their world championships. Boxing is coming up later this year, and with the local restrictions preventing our elite boxers from sparring and training, they've had to resort to looking for assistance overseas.
We've had to spend money to send athletes overseas to spar. The argument that we can bring persons here is moot because they still wouldn't be able to contact train. Jabali Breedy and Charles Cox, who are in preparation for the AIBA Men's World Championships in just a few weeks, and Kimberly Gittins, who will participate in the Women's Championships in December, have opted to attend training camps overseas in their efforts to receive sparring practice before these important competitions. Additionally, our officials are not getting the opportunity to practice their specialty.
Dr. Branford Jones, who recently took office as president of the Boxing Association, believes as a whole sport is in crisis. And now more than ever, it's time for all stakeholders to come together and chart a way forward.
Unfortunately, if the survival of sport during this pandemic is not seen as a critical issue, it will not be treated as such, and the effects will be far-reaching, immeasurable, and regrettable. Regarding COVID-19 and the approach in the world of sport, sports people need to get together with or without the government and figure out how we are going to live through this pandemic. Find a way to help ourselves, push the envelope, grab the bull by the horns. COVID-19 will be around for a long time. Are we prepared to continue this way indefinitely? We need to address the elephants in the sports room. Vaccination for COVID-19, vaccine hesitancy, and COVID-19 testing. We need to start asking the hard questions and approaching the topics that nobody seems to want to talk about, at least publicly or openly, because they have been so controversial. We can't expect to return to consistent sport unless we come together and discuss the hard topics. A strategic plan needs to be developed to address this directly. Will we approach the second year of this pandemic with the same apparent coolness? I dare say that we cannot afford to do so. The athletes will leave. The officials will lose their skills. Supportive members will be frustrated and become inactive. It will be harder to rekindle the interest and enthusiasm in the various sports. The consultations need to be goal-oriented, targeted, and brave, and involve all those who can help fulfill each identified need. For the love of sport, let's get on with it.
Anne-Marie Burke, CBC Sports.
And it is now time for a look at our weather picture. In Barbados right now, it's 27.9 degrees Celsius. It's cloudy with some slight haze. However, it feels like 34 degrees. The humidity stands at 82% and the barometric pressure at 1009.8 millibars. The winds are from the east at 26 kilometers per hour. The low tide will be at 6:35 p.m. and high tide at 1:05 p.m. The seas are smooth to moderate in open water with swells ranging from 1 to 1.5 meters and increasing. Today it will be a mix of sunshine and clouds with brief isolated light showers. Tonight is expected to be partly cloudy with a few brief isolated light showers as well. And in the Lesser Antilles for today and tonight, it will be partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy with a few brief scattered light showers. Here now is a look at our international cities. That was today's morning report, and our next newscast on TV8 will be News at Noon. We now join Pearson Bowie for Morning Barbados.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning.
Indeed, good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Friday, October the 15th, 2021. It's the one night perhaps that you will sleep like a baby because the alarm will not sound tomorrow for those of you who are working Monday to Friday. Very good morning to you. I'm Pearson Bowen, welcoming all of you here in Barbados and all of you across the globe who are watching us on our YouTube channel or our Facebook streams as well. Welcome to Morning Barbados. Now today, imagine you're walking through one of the largest cities in the United States of America, perhaps looking for Ross or Marshall's or one of those fast food restaurants, and then your eyes stumble upon a place called Bridgetown Roti. And it takes your breath away. We're going to walk into Bridgetown Roti today to meet the woman behind that enterprise. She's a Bajan of ours. She's a resident in Los Angeles, and so we'll be anxious to bring that story to you this morning as well. We are also this month celebrating the Month of the Blind, and we will be joined by Linda Brathwaite, who is the Public Relations Officer for the National United Society for Blind Barbados. And today being White Cane Day, we'll talk a little bit about what we need to do better as we assist our brothers and sisters who are blind, and they're enhancing their ability to move around freely and engage in everything else that we all engage with. But let's get started this morning by meeting our very first guest, who is a medical esthetician. She's from the United States. She too is from Los Angeles. She's here on the island and will be leaving us very shortly. Tracy Hudson is her name. Tracy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Pearson. How are you?
I am doing well. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. I'm enjoying my time here on this amazing, amazing island.
Oh, I love the way you exclaim that. Amazing, amazing island. Thank you. Thank you very much. Is it your first visit?
It is, actually. It's my first visit to Barbados.
Describe for me your best experience while you were here.
Oh, gosh. There's been so many. Yesterday, I swam with the turtles. Pebble Beach has been absolutely amazing. I've taken a tour of the entire island, a car tour, and then we did a boat tour. So I've had an extensive visit here. I love the dichotomy between, you know, the crushing waves on one side and the calmness on the other side. It's just the people, the culture, the food. It's just been amazing.
Wow. I can't wait to hear what you tell the others when you land again in Los Angeles to be our ambassador.
I don't want to go back home.
That is so good to hear, Tracy. But you are a medical esthetician, and what is it that you do?
I do a lot of corrective work in Los Angeles, so my clientele varies. I deal with a wide range of ethnicities, and by corrective work, being a medical esthetician, I focus on acne, hyperpigmentation, and tending to anti-age the skin, things that need correction.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at your skin, now that you said that, as I talk to you as well. It looks great. It's glow. There's a glow, and I know that's. Look at you already. Because you specialize in the caring of black skins of us, our people. Yes. And you know, we present with all sorts of pigmentation issues as well, you know, the breakouts from the blackheads and all those kinds of things. So what are some of the challenges that you face, and what are some of the techniques that you use to overcome those challenges of us, these people of color?
I love that question, Pearson. I actually elected and I chose to work with skin. When I started my practice about 15 years ago, I worked with the diverse, and I still work with diverse skin tones. But I felt like we as African Americans had a higher need, and we were a little bit more neglected, and we had less options in terms of places to go. So I elected to work with ethnic skin types. Our skin can be a little bit more tricky. We tend not to wear SPF on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. We think it's only for beach days and stuff like that, and it's really, really beneficial for protecting our skin from hyperpigmentation, which as African Americans we're a little bit more prone to. So there's not always the option in terms of choices for us to correct them. We're limited, if that makes sense to you.
Yes.
But we're also prone at the same time. So there's treatments, for example, our counterparts can do on their skin that we cannot do. There's a lot of laser treatments that we cannot do. We have to be careful with chemical peel work, which is what I do a lot of, to correct those things. So we have to be careful how we address our hyperpigmentation because there's limitations, but we're also the group that's most afflicted by hyperpigmentation and acne.
Does it vary from location to location? Because you recognize the sun in Barbados is vastly different from the sun in LA. And so the things that we are subjected to owing to where we live is going to be somewhat different from what you are subjected to in LA. So are there any differences based upon location?
I would say the need to wear, the sun is very intense here. I am like bronze and I love it. I'm going to hate to lose all this amazing sun that I've gotten here when I
Yes.
get back, when I return home. But I would say with the intensity of the sun, wearing a hat, wearing, like I said, wearing sunscreen, wearing sunglasses, things to protect your skin as much as possible, and trying to reapply sunscreen. I know it can be challenging, but maybe a little travel size, something you can take with you so you can reapply every 2 to 3 hours. So I would say that would be some of the key things that you could do here to protect your skin from the sun. Also, I'm a big fan of vitamin C serum. Invest in a really good vitamin C serum during the daytime to protect your skin from free radicals and antioxidants.
Oftentimes, and maybe I'm guilty of it as well, we think perspiration is moisture. And therefore, your skin is moist, so it's moist enough, but we get that wrong. What do you recommend to persons of this complexion who are also challenged with dry skin?
Well, we tend not to be plagued with dry skin, in all honesty. Sweating is not moisture, right? So, but it is detoxing to the skin. So if you're somebody who perspires a little bit more than someone else, you're detoxing the skin. You can choose to blot a bit more. You can choose to use a cleanser that has more active ingredients to help you control that a bit. But sweating is good for the skin. It detoxes the skin. And we tend not to be plagued typically with dry skin. I would say that if you are by chance, maybe if you're older, you may start to develop dry skin. But the majority of us don't have dry skin. I would say invest in a better moisturizer, something that has peptides and ceramides so that you can replenish the lipid barrier, and making sure that after every wash that you're moisturizing. I find that a lot of clients don't do that. They maybe wash once a day. You should be washing twice a day.
Really?
And every time you wash, when the skin's a little bit damp, you want to moisturize. You can invest also in a hyaluronic serum, which are amazing. They pull 1,000 times the moisture to the skin.
Well, thanks for that. I'm guilty as charged. Thank you for charging me in the morning.
Are you a one, or are you guilty as charged in terms of what?
No, the washing I do, but the moisturizing thereafter, you just dry and that's it.
Yeah, no, you want to moisturize immediately after washing while the skin's a little damp, so it can absorb some of the moisturizer, and the dampness kind of works to your benefit.
They say black don't crack. So what is it? What is it you think about our skin type that would add truth to that particular statement?
Oh, without a doubt, our fabulous melanin. Yeah, it preserves us, and we're able to age a little bit more gracefully. Absolutely.
Good. Because I'm leading into this whole question of what we do to enhance our look as we age. A lot of times people reach those other things, other techniques like Botox and the like. Would you recommend, as we age, for the black skin to also do that, Botox?
I love your questions this morning. I love it. Absolutely. So my background as a medical esthetician actually started in that field. I think it's not, when it's not necessary, don't do it. But for a lot of times Black women think that we don't need Botox. And I think as you start to advance in age, to do, the glabella, to do the nasal labia folds, filler and Botox are perfectly safe. They're perfectly safe for all skin types. And it's a beautiful way to stay youthful. The trick of it is to make sure that you go to someone who has a good touch, and no one wants to look like they've engaged in that kind of work. And that's really the key, to have a nice, gentle touch, to have a small amount in, to keep yourself looking anti-aged and youthful. But it's perfectly fine for all skin types.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. Us guys, we were shy to push the door to come into a place like yours because we need to deal with the face unless there's a major problem. I want to look at it from the younger people's age group now. Are you seeing a lot of younger people coming in with, other than simply acne, coming in needing your attention? And if so, with what problems are they presenting?
I'm definitely seeing an influx of younger, but I think I always have. My demographic is skewed a bit on the younger side. Most of my clients are from 20 to, their mid-50s, typically, sometimes a bit older. But my main demographic is women, but I am seeing more men, which I love. Men are concerned with ingrowns and things of that nature. But yes, ingrown hairs, the shaving. And I think also in the the times that we're in with social media, I think everybody's a little bit more concerned about what their skin looks like because we're taking lots of selfies and, the social media thing. So everybody wants your skin to look good. No one wants to be dependent on makeup, whether you're, so men care about what their skin looks like a little bit more because we're all showing up on everyone's camera phone and social media and all that good stuff.
So invest in some really good skincare products, and of course when need arises and you need to address those concerns on your face because you need to know that you look right, check out your medical esthetician as well. What would you recommend to the young boy who has the acne breakout? I just want to make sure that he's all right. Because I'll tell you, I remember well going to school, in secondary school here, I don't know what you call it in your place, but and having that face that is just oozing, to use I'm sorry for those who are offended having breakfast this morning, but you know what I mean, because that's all part of the puberty, the changes brought on by puberty, and feeling so dreadfully uncomfortable. So what would you say to a young boy watching today who has that problem?
I think one of the reasons just to kind of that I love doing what I do is that for that reason, when your self-esteem is impacted when whether you're younger or older by acne or whatever, seeing that correction happen, the person typically thrives and they're very happy. So being young and not having confidence with yourself, whether it's acne or whatever, is such a tricky thing. Like I said initially, washing and making sure you're washing twice a day. Is really important, but you also, that piece about moisturizing after you wash, after you cleanse, every time you cleanse, you should moisturize. If nothing else gets taken away from this interview, cleanse twice a day and be sure to moisturize immediately afterwards. For a young boy or a girl who's struggling with acne and sort of is having flare-ups, using a cleanser that has active ingredients in it is crucial. So your cleanser should contain either salicylic to some percentage or benzoyl peroxide. So you need to determine what kind of acne you have, whether it's regular papules or pustules or whether you have cystic acne, and choose a cleanser that has active ingredients in it. That's really key. And again, I'm going to reiterate, moisturize afterwards. And then again, in this climate, sunscreen is imperative.
You're speaking with such authority. I'm told that you have your own product line. Could you share that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. I wish I had one handy.
I wish you did too.
I do. But I have a full line, and I've developed and formulated the line for accountability. I started off, like I said, about 15 years ago, and I don't think that it's something I encourage other estheticians, whether it's their own line or whether it's a line that they're a big fan of. It's accountability. Having your own line. Once I do a treatment on a client and I clear their skin up, it's important for me to make the suggestion or the recommendation that they go home with products that are going to maintain their results, opposed to me doing a treatment on someone's skin and then they're going to have to go out and fend for themselves and figure out how they're going to continue to maintain their skin. So it's accountability.
I can't wait. Are your products available on this island, by the way, or have you started negotiations to have them here?
From your mouth to God's ears, I love the idea. But at this point, they're not. They're exclusively online on my Instagram account. You can go to my Instagram account and do all that business there. But they're exclusively on the website.
There we go. Tracy Hudson is the brand. Tracy Hudson. Take it all off. Cleanser set all available. And we're sharing with you on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit about what you can experience in the range of products, smooth and radiant skincare provided by Tracy Hudson. And they're all there. So just go to the Instagram page. It is Tracy Hudson Skincare on Instagram. And the website is tracyspa.com. And you can explore and experience all that Tracy Hudson has to offer. Tracy, thank you so much. I hope you have a safe trip back. And we do look forward to your coming back really soon, okay?
I don't want to go. Like I said, I'm going kicking and screaming, but amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome. Thank you for joining us.
You got it. Have a good day.
Likewise. Morning Barbados will continue right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Today is Friday, October the 15th, and internationally it's known as White Cane Day. Joining us to talk a little bit more about that is Alinda Brathwaite, who is the Public Relations Officer with the National United Society of the Blind Barbados. Alinda, good morning.
Good morning, Pearson. Good morning, Barbados.
Alinda, it is so good to see you after all these years. How are you doing?
And to see you too. And to see you too.
Yes,
On this forum, in another place.
Of course, for a lot of people who don't know, Alinda and I would have worked together at Barclays Bank over the years. And I'm saying that particularly because a lot of times people tend to think that people like yourself who are blind ought not to be in regular jobs. But you're kidding me? Alinda was excellent at what she did at Barclays Bank, and you were recognized time after time for the work you did.
That's right. Thank you so much, Pearson.
So how do we begin to change the mindset of people, do you think, Alinda, to include people who are blind? Because I know you would have been the telephone operator at Barclays Bank. Beautiful voice, excellent customer service you rendered every time anyone rang. So how do we begin that process of inclusion, do you think?
Well, it has to start with education. And education, I always say, should start from the primary level, whereby we go into the schools and we speak to the children and we get them to understand that having a visual disability or any other kind of disability for that matter is not a death sentence, is not anything that you have to be ashamed of. When you see someone with a challenge, you treat them as any other person.
Yes. And I know you were big on that, being treated just like everybody else, even though we all recognized and worked with you and we understood what your disability was. But you were able to navigate your way around. Let's talk about the white cane, for instance, and the ability to be able to see your way with the use of your white cane. How important is it?
Yes, the white cane is very important. Well, first of all, the white cane was invented in 1921. Well, at the time it was just a stick. So this brilliant guy, blind guy called James Briggs, a British guy, he came up with a brilliant idea to paint his cane white so that motorists could be more aware of him when he's doing his moving around.
Yes.
So that's where the white cane actually started, and then it moved on from there with the Lions Club International in the 1930s. And the white cane is a tool of the blind, and it's also it's a symbol of our independence. So we use a cane to get from point A to point B. Of course, there are techniques to use a cane. You don't just take up a cane and just go, just
I can
like
imagine.
that. There's a technique to it. So that's how
Because I see blind people moving and using their white cane, and I'm trying to figure out, how do they know the edge of the road? How do they know that there isn't an obstacle ahead of them? All of those kinds of things. So help me understand the technique to using the white cane.
Okay, so when you have a cane, the long cane is the cane for mobility and orientation. There are different types of cane. A lot of people don't know that. There are canes that you use, there are indoor canes, and there are canes that can be used just for when you're now starting to move around. But the long white cane that you see most of us on the road with is a cane that is used for orientation and mobility. So the technique is that when you have the cane and you have the grip just with your thumb on the top of the cane, your palm is kind of on your palm is bent, is facing like this. The cane is in between your fingers, in between there. When your left foot goes forward, the cane goes to your right. So it's kind of mapping your path. So then, so it would pick up things that are ahead of you, and then vice versa. When your right foot goes forward, your cane, you swivel the cane to your left. So it's a technique to it, and that by doing it the right way, it has to make a circle around you. So once you are walking, you would pick up something that is an obstacle before you actually bump into it.
So is there training for any person who is newly blind? Is there training offered so that they can understand how to navigate that white cane?
I'm happy that you asked me that, because there is supposed to be training. Yes, there have been training up to 2018. We had an adjustment to blindness officer. that is the national, she worked with the National Disabilities Unit, but now, since her retirement, she has not been replaced, so blind and visually impaired persons have to depend on other blind and visually impaired persons to give them some tips and so on. But we are working, the National United Society of the Blind Barbados, we are lobbying for someone to replace that person who has retired. So it's a bit of an issue now, but yeah.
I really hope the lobbying brings success, because I think it's such a critical component for anyone who is visually impaired or blind, who needs the assistance, who needs to understand how to, because it's part of the independence rebuild that we're talking about, so that you don't stay at home. You can actually get up and go about and do what you have to do. And so being able to learn how to walk our roads and to do regular things like regular people is so critical. What do you think us sighted people and motorists in particular need to be more careful about when we see people using our roads with the white cane?
Well, most of the times the motorists are quite good at, giving us the right of way. They would tell us when, some of them would even tell us, well, cross now, it's safe to cross. And we like that. The public sometimes can get a bit sidetracked, and they would, because obviously sometimes persons who are blind and visually impaired you may not be able to see that from looking at their eyes. So I am not sure why somebody would just pretend to be blind and have a cane, but that still beats me. But I would like people to be more aware, and to not to see the cane as just something you're holding in your hand, but something that you need to guide you, to map your path. So they need to ask how they can assist if they see us crossing, whether you would like them to cross us over the road, or something. And not, first of all, and most important, not to grab hold of the cane, because we are not supposed to part with our canes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, because oftentimes we think we're doing a good thing when we seek to do what you've just described, but we're actually not necessarily helping in the situation. So what are some of these other scenarios where we other able-bodied people get it wrong, and that you wish that we understood better so that we can assist you more with the use of the white cane?
Well, some instances people do get it wrong. I wouldn't go into the guiding techniques, because that was yesterday. That was for World Sight Day was yesterday, and we talked a bit about guiding techniques yesterday. But the cane techniques, people need to remember, most of all, as I said before, not to ever take the cane away from the person or say, well, I have you, I am, and not to encourage people not to walk with their canes, because there's some people who tell you, oh, you're going so and so place with me, you don't need your cane. I don't ever leave home without my cane, because I don't feel comfortable with anyone just telling me, well, let go. So they need to remember that that's a part of us, and it's important that we have it, because we feel more comfortable. And once we have the techniques down pat, we are good to go. And don't feel any way if we refuse your help as well, because sometimes people say, oh, you need help, and if we say no, and we say no obviously because we're quite confident where we're going, and people say, oh, she might be unmannerly or whatever. But it's not that. It's just that we're comfortable, so we don't, we have a right to refuse help as well.
You're so right. With the National United Society for the Blind Barbados, we just saw an image there on our screen where we're seeing guide dogs as well. Do we have that here? And is that an option that people who are blind can actually use? The guide dog?
Yes, that's an option that we are exploring at the moment. We have to do a lot of groundwork though, to change our laws and get our people, because Pearson, our Caribbean people most of us are afraid of dogs, huh?
Yes.
So we're not comfortable with dogs in a car, and taxis, and restaurants, and so we have to really do a lot of public education to get people to that point where they say, okay, well it's normal to see a dog in a restaurant or store or something. The Council for the Disabled, they did something a few years ago where they brought in a dog and his guide from England, and that was a good experience. But we have to do a lot to change our laws first, because we like to move to that as well. Because there's some of us that love dogs, and we wouldn't mind having a guide dog. But I must add that in order to have a dog, you have to have your cane skills perfected first.
Oh.
So they go hand in hand.
Right. That's good to hear. Now let's talk about support, because I was whispered in my ear to say to me that your son is right there assisting you and he was cheering you on as well. What kind of support do you have generally so that you stay able and capable and still moving?
Well, my son, he's a gem. He really helps me do everything in terms of, you know how it is with us and the technology. So
Yes.
sometimes you get things a bit wrong, but of course he's my knight in shining armor. He really does help, and family support is very important for blind and visually impaired persons. In fact, for persons with disabilities on the whole, because that support gives you the confidence to know, well, I can do it, and you don't need to feel afraid that, you know, or what you're doing is wrong, because you know that your family is behind you or next to you, not behind you all the time, but next to you.
Absolutely. Do you feel at times that you are a burden on him? Does that cross your mind sometimes? Do you feel that way?
Never, because I don't ever let my son do anything that I can't do. So I don't feel I'm a burden to him. And as I said, the only thing I have little issues with is this technology, you know, but that's the only thing. So really and truly, he doesn't have to do everything for me. I'm not going to call on him if he's lying down watching a movie or he's doing something. I wouldn't just disturb him just for disturbing's sake, no.
Alinda, you have not changed an ounce. You are still Alinda Brathwaite that I've known years ago to now, and you're doing so very well. I want to thank you. I mean, there's such an education you shared with us this morning about the white cane, the fact that it is a part of who you are, and you won't leave without it, and how to actually use it. I think.
Glasses.
Yeah, you're right. I wear them.
You know, glasses. You know.
So true. It's your glasses, and so I'm so thankful. I wish we had more time, because I think the education about what you're experiencing, the education about how you use what you use to be able to see is also going to be so critical, I think. And I would love to be able to offer you the opportunity, and your organization still in the rest of the month, to share with us some different things that we have to know more about. So thank you so much for joining us this morning, Alinda.
Thank you, Pearson. It was nice being here. And anytime you can have us back, we are quite willing to have us to come on, because education is our thing. And we'd like the entire public of Barbados to know that, you know, we are not different. We may be differently able, some people say, but, and we all say, and I will end by saying, there's life after blindness. So life still goes on even though you have a visual impairment.
So true,
Thank you,
so true. Thank you to Alinda Brathwaite, Public Relations Officer with the National United Society for the Blind Barbados, joining us this morning on today, World White Cane Day. We're going to take a break right here, and we're coming back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning.
She has always been so.
Morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Oh, no, she hasn't changed. And no, she hasn't changed either. Wendy Burke is back with the news. Wendy?
Yes, Pearson. A total number of 320 people were identified as COVID-19 positive from Wednesday, October 13th, among the 2,551 tests conducted by the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. Of the 133 males and 187 females who make up the new cases, 69 people are under the age of 18. There are now 578 people in isolation facilities and 2,519 in home isolation. Under the National Vaccination Program for COVID-19, the total number of people with at least one dose is 143,661, while the total number of people who are fully vaccinated is 114,570. The Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc. is promoting the idea of an identification card for vendors, saying it will improve the customer experience. Chief Product Development Officer Marcia Allen told the Joint Select Committee on Vending, customer service is important as this type of commercial activity is taken to the next level.
One of the key things that we want to identify in customer service that you should learn and know the customer's name and also introduce yourself. That is 101 in terms of wonderful and excellent customer service. And so if we are taking the vendors into the 21st century, we want to have state-of-the-art type of experiences where you have Wi-Fi and also other type of activity going on. Wouldn't we want to ensure that the customer service is at the point where it is, renowned, not just in Barbados, but around the world?
MP for St. Michael East, Trevor Prescott, is however concerned about the deculturizing of vending so that players can be embraced in the tourism industry.
In other words, a vendor would have to behave in a specific manner in order to become suitable to be included or embraced within the tourist industry. And then you lose the uniqueness of our people because you want to make an adaptation to what we consider is socially acceptable. And I feel, sir, that we have to be very careful because we are trying to say what you are doing without people just imposing on you their views about what is criminal and what is not criminal. We believe that what you're doing, that we all accept what you're doing with a sense of pride, and we want you to feel equally as dignified.
In sports, NBA All-Star Brooklyn Nets guard Kyrie Irving has defended his decision to not get vaccinated against the coronavirus as what's best for him. This after team officials said he would not be allowed to practice or play with the team without getting inoculated.
The Brooklyn Nets guard won't be allowed to play or train with his team because rules in New York require professional athletes to have had at least one jab. He'll lose about half of his $35 million salary by missing their home games. But speaking to more than 100,000 fans on social media, Irving said that money wasn't everything.
I'm doing what's best for me. I know the consequences here, and if it means that I'm judged and demonized for that, that's just what it is. That's the role I play. And the financial consequences and stuff, I know I do not want to even do that. Come on now, I love this game, love the game. But sometimes you really got to make choices that ultimately can affect that. And it's unfortunate, but that's where we're in 2021.
The Nets general manager, Sean Marks, decided on Tuesday to leave Irving out of the team until he's received at least one dose of the vaccine. With the Nets' season opening game just 6 days away, the decision's got the backing of their coach, Steve Nash.
We discussed all the possibilities and all the things that are going on, and I support the decision, and if things change, we'd love to have Kyrie back.
Kyrie believes in his beliefs, and he stands firm and strong on that. And for us, we respect it. We all love Kai, but as far as us, we have a job to do.
Well, that's a wrap on news. It's now back to Pearson Igor Ignatius for Morning Barbados.
Thank you, Iris. Ayantha, you have yourself a tremendous weekend indeed. Folks, we'll take a break right here at 6 minutes after 7, and we're coming back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Now don't forget, folks, coming up shortly, you'll get a chance to spot the 5th landmark of the week in our breast screening campaign as we're asking you to spot the pink ribbon. So stand by for that. But right now at 8 minutes after 7, time for you to call me on 228-5562 or 228-5563 because here comes today's Crumbs question of the day. 228-5562 or 63 to answer this question. Who was the first Premier of Barbados? That's the question. Who was the first Premier of Barbados? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Let's talk. Who was the first Premier of Barbados? Call me now and you let me know your answer. Who was the first Premier of Barbados? All brought to you with good wishes of Crumbs Bakery with locations everywhere. Good morning to you. Hello.
Morning, Pearson. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'd like the lady to give you your full name in your Pearson. I love that.
Listen, girl.
Question. It was Cummins, but I can't remember who Cummins.
Oh, you can't remember who Cummins? It was not Othniel.
I can't remember, but I know it was Cummins, but I can't remember.
So you don't remember if it's Othniel?
I can't remember, but I know it was Cummins' surname, but I can't remember the Christian name, but I know it was Cummins.
Oh dear. Where are you watching me from?
I'm St. John.
St. John, okay. And where exactly in St. John are you?
Bath.
In Bath, St. John? Have you had your bath yet for the morning?
No.
You're very late. No problem. But Sister At, you are wrong, okay? Thanks for trying. Yes, you're wrong, madam. Thank you very much for trying. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Who was the first Premier of Barbados? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Somebody scratching their head saying, wish if she get it wrong, but hey. Morning, hello.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good.
This is my girl Melda. Melda, what's the answer?
I think it's Ernest Dayton Motley.
You're sticking with that?
Yes.
Wheeler, come again, Melda. Wheeler, no, you're wrong. Thank you for trying. Melda's calling from St. Philip. No. So, who was the first Premier of Barbados? Who was the first Premier of Barbados? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Crumbs Bakery, a location near you. They have such a range of delicious baked products. It's delicious down to the last crumb. Good morning to you. Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. Where are you watching us from?
Christchurch.
Christchurch, and what's your answer?
Sir John Store.
Premier?
Premier Sir John Store.
Premier?
It's Sir John Store.
Premier? God, the crickets are chirping. You're sticking to that answer?
Yes, please.
And you're recalling this from memory or something?
Yeah.
Nah, girl, you don't remember, right? No.
Are you sure?
If I am sure, look at your history again and tell me who was Sir John Stowe. Okay?
Okay.
Thanks for trying, though. Thank you very much. 228-5562 or 228-5563. She might make me doubt myself now. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Who was the first Premier of Barbados? Who? I dare you. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Hi. How are you?
Not too bad, thanks.
Oh, that's fun, wonderful. Where are you watching from?
St. Lucie.
Hello. You better get this right. You better get this right. What's your answer?
Grantley Adams.
Cheese on bread. Why would you say so?
Because he was.
No, not because he was. Why would you say so?
Because he was the first Premier.
Well, how do you know that? How do you know that?
History.
What do you mean? Were you around at that time?
Yes.
You were?
Yes.
You have a very young sounding voice. So you were around at the time when your aunt, so you tell me it's Grantley Adams, was the first Premier of Barbados. You were there when he was anointed as such?
Well, well, I was little, but
But you remember?
Yes, please.
So you're just using memory right now?
No,
and you believe you have a really good memory?
Yeah.
Where exactly in St. Lucie are you?
Should I tell you?
Yes.
If I'm right, I will tell you.
No, I will tell you too if you're right. So tell me, where exactly in St. Lucie are you?
Could be a person, River Bay.
What part? You're River Bay? Hello? So come on. We're talking about growing up in the same area. River Bay, Hope Road, Button Bound, as the old people would say. That's fantastic. You are absolutely right. I am so immensely proud of you. What's the first name?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
With the applause going on. What's the first name?
Mildred.
Mildred, I know you?
Yes, please.
Well, hold on, Mildred. Describe where your house is.
Mildred Boys at River Bay, down to the gap.
I got you now. Mildred, congratulations. You're absolutely right. Sir Grantley Adams was indeed the first Premier. Stay on the phone, Mildred. Congratulations.
Okay,
I am so happy.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome. We have a winner from St. Lucie. Yeah, boy. Thank you so very much, Mildred. She's absolutely right. Thank you all for trying as well. God Spare Life on Monday. There's another crumbs question of the day. We got a winner from St. Lucie. Yeah. We're going to take a break right here. We're coming back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
And yes, I'm immensely proud of where I was born, St. Lucie. 16 minutes now after 7 o'clock. Yeah, man. Let's continue by meeting a Bajan Afar. This time we're going all the way to Los Angeles for this one. And let's welcome this morning Rashida Holmes. Rashida, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's bright and early here in Los Angeles. Still dark outside.
What time is it there for you?
It's about 4:15 a.m.
Girl, is this normal for you to be up at this hour?
No, but I'm here for you guys.
I'm very thankful that you've done that for us today. Now, you were born in New York to a Barbadian mother. And
That's correct.
Ever since then, you have been a part of our culture, Rashida. What is it that your mother taught you that made you think for a second, you know what, I kind of like being Barbadian?
Oh gosh, it was always a part of our lives. You know, she never, she always talked about Barbados and growing up there and her experiences there, and made us proud to be Bajan Americans, and through food is the way that we connected to Barbados, because she always brought out all of the things she learned from her aunties on the holidays.
What did she cook up on the holidays? What was it that she would do?
Oh, she'd pull out pigeon peas and rice. She'd pull out curried chicken, codfish cakes. She would pull out my dad actually, who also has family in Barbados, would always make oxtail stew. So it was always through food that we connected with our Bajan roots.
That sounds like a delicious offering indeed. And so she's passed on all of this to you. You smelt it and it got you good. So much so, as I was teasing the show, I said, can you imagine being in a large city like Los Angeles, hunting around for something to eat and stumble upon a place called Bridgetown Roti? Have you any idea what that word Bridgetown means to a Barbadian?
I do, and I chose it on purpose so that Bajans could find me, and people who knew Bridgetown was the capital, they would recognize that this was a Bajan-inspired restaurant.
Boy, so let's talk about what's in the restaurant. What do you offer?
So we offer. So I've been cooking for about 13 years professionally, mostly in other people's, in French and Italian and American style restaurants. And after a long time, I wanted to be able to represent my roots through food and in the culinary industry, which is why I started Bridgetown. And so we serve 4 different types of rotis. I also make patties as well with my own kind of twist on it. We serve codfish cakes. We do some small jerk things like a jerk cucumber salad as well. I serve macaroni pie. So I try to honor my Bajan roots, but also be creative with it as well.
What's been the response, Rashida? I see you actually using the broken trident, which is such a critical, something that we know and recognize immediately. So what's been the response?
Yes. It's been great. People in Los Angeles have really embraced the food. It's been really, really fun to show people my version of Bajan. I could say Bajan American because I'm Bajan American. So my version of Bajan American food and being able to play with flavors, and people have really, really loved it. I'm really happy with how Los Angeles has responded.
Speaking of playing with flavors, oftentimes you hear, oh, Barbadian Bajan food is so spicy. How do you respond to that, one? And are you also adjusting your flavors to respond to that palate that the Americans have?
Actually, not at all. Particularly in Los Angeles, people here are very food adventurous. So I get to be as spice forward as I want to be, which is exciting. But I do put all the hot sauces on the sides because, that way people can regulate their own heat.
Yes, yes. Do you serve any Bajan drinks as well in Bajan, in Bridgetown Roti place? Do you serve
I serve a couple. We don't make any drinks in house right now because we're actually just a small operation. We only serve 3 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
But we do get some sodas. We get some Jamaican sodas in. We get pear Drax in as well. We import as well as Apple J. So we try to bring those sodas right from the islands and show people different kind of things.
One day soon, I want you to ask your mother about Mauby. Mauby.
Oh, she's told me about Mauby.
I am telling you, you will love it till thy kingdom come. It's really a really fantastic beverage. Everyone who you'll meet will want it. So you try that as well.
I'm excited about that. I will, absolutely.
Have you ever come to my island? Have you ever been here?
Yes, so I've been 3 times. When I was 10, I went with my uncle. I met a bunch of cousins I didn't even know were down there. We went again when I was 17. And when I was, we actually had a family trip planned in March of 2020, but of course, we weren't able to come down at that time.
Yeah, I know that can be so upsetting for a number of people indeed, because I love to see when family comes together, and that's what's so important. But having been here those 3 times, when your feet touched our soil, what did it do to you?
I think being in a place where I felt like everyone kind of looked like me was really a wonderful experience, and I loved the island. I love the island. I love the culture of Barbados. I love how people think and act and how they approach everyone. And of course, I ate my face off when I was there. That was the first time I had a roti, was when I was in Barbados.
Typical girl, typical Barbadian. Best you've ever had, I'm sure. What's the conversation that would happen with your clients around the word Bridgetown and the broken trident? Do they have conversations about that?
Yes, and I chose Bridgetown for 2 reasons, because one was the capital of Barbados, but the other was I kind of wanted to represent a bridge between myself as a Bajan American and the food that I had kind of worked in, and kind of bridging Bayesian cuisine with the kind of French and Italian and American cuisines that I kind of learned how to do professionally and to create something new and interesting. So it's not a traditional, but it also honors my Bayesian roots a lot. So that was really important to me.
I am so happy to hear you speak of us in the way that you speak of us, and with everything you do, you keep saying the word Bayesian, Bayesian, Bayesian. You own it, and I love it indeed. Who of your family, where in Barbados is your family here?
My mom was born in Christchurch, and then I know my dad has family. I'm not exactly sure where. I know that I visited them, but I don't know where because I was young at the time.
Well, we hope to see you again soon on our island, Rashid. We wish you all the very best, and we hope that Barbadians, as they travel down to Los Angeles, they do look out for Bridgetown roti and get the Bridgetown roti, get the Barbados experience, but most of all, support our culture as well. And Rashida, I only wish the very best. Thank you for joining us from all the way in Los Angeles as well, and that food is so delicious looking. You know, if you could ship it over to Barbados, we would order it today and have some today. But thank you so much.
If you could ship me some food from Barbados, I would take it as soon as I could.
What would you want to have? What would you want to have? What would you like for us to send to you?
Oh, I mean, I'd love some sauce. I would love some wonderful sauce. Send me a big pot of sauce. That's what I would like.
I love it. Rashida, you're Bajan for real to the core. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Have a good day, okay?
You too. Have a wonderful day.
Likewise. We're coming back with more on Morning Barbados right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's down to landmark number 5. Where is the pink ribbon? The question of the week that we've been asking every day. We're down to number 5, so note today's landmark. So stand by to see it. Where is this? Where is this? This is a part of a Bayesian landmark. So what we want you to do is to identify this, if you can recognize that seat. And don't just tell me it's in church. But where is it? It might not even be in church, as a matter of fact. Just a hint. And you write down what you think is that location, that landmark, along with today's date, which is Friday, October 15th. And you get ready to send them all in. So that's landmark number 5. Landmark number 5. Where is that? Where is it? Where is it? So let's show you all 5 of them now so you get one last look at all 5, because by the end of today, I want you to submit all 5 answers on one email. So you say Monday this, Tuesday that, Wednesday, etc. down to Friday. And you send that email along with all your contact details to us here at Mornin Barbados. morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's the email address. morninbarbados@cbc.bb. You have until the 29th of this month to do your revision and to get them all in. So let's start cracking. So let's, if we can, show them all 5. This is landmark number 1. One last look. Look carefully. Landmark number 1. Check yourself. Check your answers. Good. This is landmark number 2. You think you got that one? You think you need to do a little bit further digging and checking? Fine. Let's look at landmark number 3. Here it is. This is the one for Wednesday. Landmark number 3. Okay. Landmark number 4 for Thursday. Yeah, that one is easy, right? I know. And then today is landmark number 5. There you go. So you got them all down. Remember to drop in your email as quickly as possible. You can enter as often as you like. The more the merrier, we always say. To morninbarbados@cbc.bb until the 29th of October. You have your chance to get them all in. We want to say a big thank you really to our sponsors and our supporters in this. We want to say thanks to Abed's, Stansfeld Scott, the Crane Beach Hotel, Emerald City, Carlton A1 Supermarkets, and Bougainvillea Beach Resort. And of course, a big thank you to the Barbados Breast Screening Program and to the Barbados Cancer Society. And thanks to all of you for participating. Now it's up to you. Get your emails in with your answers. Right or wrong, it doesn't matter. Get them all in. And you can send them to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Thanks, everybody. Best of luck. Ours. That's right. It is our immense pleasure to meet 2 outstanding Barbadians thus far. Roston Chase, who is representing the West Indies. Roddy Estwick, who is the assistant coach with the West Indies team there in Dubai for the upcoming ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2021. Good morning, both of you, gentlemen.
Barbados.
There you are. Now we can hear you, Roddy and Roston. Roston, I want to start with you because this for you is your first outing at this level. How does it feel?
Yeah, it's an amazing feeling. You know, growing up as a young guy playing cricket, it was always a goal to actually play in a World Cup, and to be given this opportunity is a great feeling. I didn't think that it would first be a T20 World Cup. I thought that I would have gotten the chance in a 50-over World Cup before the chance in a T20 World Cup, but it's a World Cup nevertheless, so I'm very grateful and happy for this opportunity.
Well, there must have been something very special about what you were offered. I know you did exceptionally well in the recently concluded CPL. What is it you think that caused the selectors to look at you and select you to be a part of the team?
Well, obviously, I won the MVP award in the tournament, and also I had tallied for the most runs. And I think that it was a combination of performances this year and last year. After really being I wouldn't say it was my first year, but it was the first time I did a full season last year, and I had a decent performance. But after year, I really came up last year's season, and that's what really led the selectors to give me the nod.
How are you coping in preparation for the start of your campaign next Saturday? How are you preparing for that?
We've had 3 practices. They've been good. One thing I can say, the sun is really hot out here. I know people in Barbados think that the sun is hot over there, but it's 2 times as hot over here.
Oh.
Also, I haven't really been sleeping well as yet. You know, there's a big time difference, so that's the hardest part for me right now, getting acclimatized. But I've been here before, so I'm accustomed to the weather and the pitches and stuff. So it's been going good so far. The guys have been putting in some good work.
That's fantastic. Roddy, let's switch. As assistant coach, challenges with acclimatizing through sleep, The guys have been putting in good work. Those are some of the words we just heard from Roston. How is it in terms of getting the West Indies team ready? Because we got to win this thing.
Yeah, you have to build them up nicely. Obviously, with and with the heat, and obviously we have their quarantine period as well. So that you were indoors for 6 days, you couldn't come out. So we had to take it nice and slow. We're building it up as we go along. We intensified it a little bit more yesterday because we've got to make sure that by the time the 23rd comes, that we've got all the boxes ticked. We've got 2 practice games coming up as well. So we've got to make sure that all the players are ready, all the players are fit, all the players are ready to go, and we've got our plans spot on for the first game.
Give me some insight into the preparation, the plan for getting this team ship and ready to compete on the 23rd. I mean, you're out the gates on the 23rd. I think it's Australia you're up against first, right?
No, it's England.
England, okay.
It's a repeat of the 2016 finals, so we play England first. But it's all about getting used to the pitches. Roston just mentioned getting used to the pitches. Is the shots that you're going to play, it's the lengths that you're going to bowl, it's getting accustomed to the heat, getting accustomed to the ball coming through the air. The ball tends to come through the air, travel through the air a little bit quicker. The sky is not as clear as you would like, so the ball is not as clear as say in the West Indies where the sky is a lot bluer. Obviously you're here in the desert and it's a little bit dustier, so it's a little bit more difficult. So you've got to make sure that all those things that take you've got to make sure that the players are very, very comfortable with their preparation. They're going in confident, and all they got to do is go to and execute.
Roston, you heard that. All you got to do is to go to execute. How has it been life living in the bubble and knowing that you can't easily do what you normally would want to do?
Yeah, it's a bit tough seeing that Dubai is a place that I've traveled to before, and I've gone to explore Dubai. So it's a place that I really like to travel and explore and get out there and do other things. But no, I can't seem to get that done. Obviously because it's the bubble, and obviously you want the health of everyone in the team and the other teams that may be staying here as well. So it's a bit heartbreaking to be staying inside all the time. There's not really much to do at the hotel. But we come here for a job, and it's just to get that job done. So I'm still looking forward to playing that cricket, and obviously it's my first World Cup, so I'm really excited.
When you look at the composition of the team and your teammates and the collective abilities of everyone there, what do you think you can add or contribute to its success, Roston?
Yeah, well, the West Indies team is mostly known for guys who hit the ball hard and power the ball over the boundary. So I just think that me coming in as an addition, I would add that rotational strike and gluing the innings together. And also I play the longest format of the game, and I think Test cricket really gives you a good idea, understanding, and a calmness in certain situations. I think that I can really lend that part of my game to this T20 side.
Roddy, from your position as the assistant coach, I know you're part of the strategy in creating a winning team. What is it, do you think, because us in the West Indies, we're hugely critical. The people will say all sorts of things that they're not afraid to say so. What kinds of assurance would you want to give to the Caribbean viewer today who is watching, who is saying, but I just want the best. I hope, Roddy, you guys get there and coach those boys right. What assurances can you give to us today that we have a winning team?
Well, the players want to do well. We've had discussions. You know that the players are very, very proud to represent the West Indies. They want to represent the West Indies. They want to do well. And they're going to try and make sure that we do as well as possible. Our first target should be to get to the semi-final. That's going to be very important for us. And once we get to the semi-final, then you're 2 games away. But the key thing is to take game by game and make sure that we're ready, we're well prepared, we're hungry, and we want to represent the West Indies proud. We're defending champions, and that should stand for something as well. We've won 2 World Cups. We want to move to 3. But you've got to make sure there's a process. You take it game by game. It's a strategy. You've got a plan for each opposition, and then you go to and execute.
Fitness, how is it for the team? Are there any concerns anywhere?
But most of most of the guys have been playing before they've come back from the CPL. Those who went off to the IPL, so they're nice and fresh. We've got one or two niggles. Obviously, J. Russ hasn't joined the group yet. He's still in the IPL final. He will join us tonight. So we'll have a look at him and assess where his fitness is at. Fabian Allen, he picked up an injury during the IPL as well, but he was back training yesterday, so we'll see how that goes. But the key thing is to make sure that everybody's fit, everybody is well hydrated, and we've got 15 players up for selection, and we've got to make sure that we get a combination right based on the opposition.
Amen on that one. So Roston, I'll give you the final word here now. Roston, there's some who would have questions about Roston's inclusion. You have to prove them wrong, Roston. What do you want to say to those who are questioning Roston's inclusion?
I don't have nothing to say to them. I'll just let my performances speak for themselves. And as I said, I had 2 good years in the CPL, so I'm really confident where my T20 cricket is at right now. It's for me to go out there and enjoy the cricket. And as I said, I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to playing in my first World Cup. So I just go out there and give my best for the people of the Caribbean.
I like your approach there, Roston Chase. Roston Chase and Roddy Estwick representing Barbados, but most of all representing the Caribbean, the West Indies team in Dubai for the upcoming ICC T20 Men's World Cup 2021. Best of luck, gentlemen. We will all be watching and hearing it here in Barbados, and we will be rooting and supporting all of your endeavors in your respective matches going forward. So thank you for joining us, and we wish you well there in representing the West Indies in Dubai. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
You're very welcome.
Thanks,
Morning Barbados, you're very welcome. Morning Barbados continues after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
"19 minutes now to go to 8 o'clock. Let's introduce you to the book, Lighting the Path. But also let's introduce you to the author behind that book, Dr. Marcia Natai Balkisoon. Good morning to you, Dr. Marcia.
Good morning, Mr. Pearson, Mr. Bowen. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I see you're holding your precious gem in your hand. Your book, Lighting the Path, tells the story of this lovely little one in your hand. And we're hoping to get that connection sorted out right there. I'm with you.
So I said I call it Emma's book because it's her story and it's her lighting the path for us.
So tell me a little bit of a story about Emma. What happened?
Emma was born with 4 problems. It's a condition called tetralogy of Fallot, and those were not known until she was born. At 8 months, the problem had gotten so severe that we had to do open heart surgery. It could not be done locally, so we had to go to the States to get it done. And unfortunately, while she was recovering from in the ICU, somebody pulled out the wrong tube and she bled out, which caused her to be brain injured because she was without oxygen for 20 minutes. So she became severely brain injured, lost all of her senses and her ability to suck and swallow. and we got a diagnosis that led us to be told that she would be vegetative for life.
And how did you deal with that news?
I think I dealt with it the way any parent would. You just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other, because I had a 5-year-old son and I had this one at 8 months old is when this happened. And you sort of have to keep up your appearances for your son, because if you break down, who's going to care for him? So we just kept it going.
Mm-hmm. What I love is that you have not put her away. She's still there with you. This is your child. And a lot of times that's what people do. You know, they find themselves in a difficult circumstance, so they'd rather turn their back on that difficult circumstance. But you've kept pace with Emma, and Emma is yours. And so you're continuing to raise her. Let's talk a little bit about some of the challenges as a family you had to face, and some of the successes that you've encountered as well while you care for Emma.
Okay. There's blame and a lot of doubt about what did I do to cause this. Am I being a parent because it's a full-time job, and in addition to the full-time job, you also have a job in order to continue to provide care for her. So it's really like if you're a hamster on a wheel and you never get off that wheel. Since she's been hurt, she's not slept through a night. So it's been about going on 9 years that we haven't had maybe more than 3 hours sleep for the night. So that takes a big toll. And then there's just isolation. You feel very, very abandoned and lonely and afraid. But I look at her and I realize sometimes I'm mourning for what I lost. But she wakes up every day happy and doing the best she can. She doesn't see that anything is missing from her life, and it's a lesson to me.
Wow, you caused me pause when you said that just now. You know, she's happy for everything that she has. She feels as though she's living her best self. And so Light the Path, the book that you've written, chronicles all of this. And so for a parent today who is battling themselves, a child with a disability, and that disability is so physical, so severely physical that the child is in a vegetative state, what do you think this book can provide?
Well, the aim of the book was I didn't want anybody to be walking that path alone and feel like if they had nobody to hold their hand. So I wrote the book that I wish I had when it happened to us. I really hope that the people who use the book feel that. The reviews seem to be saying that they do experience that, and that makes us happy. So there are lots and lots of positive things coming out of the book. I tried to be authentic when I wrote it. So I wrote about the dark part.
Yes.
I wrote about the journey and the tools and the learning. And then I also wrote so much in terms of checklists at the end of every chapter to hold somebody's hand and say, okay, here's what you can try to really shift it for yourself to a much more positive way.
How is it though? I mean, I see you're holding your daughter in your hand and you're saying it's a full-time job, you can't sleep. Sometimes you just probably get just 3 hours of rest per night. But how are you coping with you and managing yourself through this process?
I'm much better now because this is 9 years on. I spent about 5 or 6 days where in secret I would wake up in the night and cry without letting my husband know. And I did go through times when I would pray and I would say, stuck his hole forever. And you have a lot of grief about everything you've lost and about all the fear and all the pain you feel for your child, because her situation was getting, all the time it's getting more complicated. And so the journey doesn't when I teach, you know.
You're a very strong woman, Dr. Marcia. You're a very, very strong woman. You know, there aren't many people who can deal with it the way that you have been able to deal with it, to the point where you've actually been able to chronicle your experiences to share with the rest of the world through your book. And I'm watching at the same time, seeing the connection between yourself and Emma, but I'm wondering, does she have a similar connection with Daddy as well?
no, she has a better connection with Daddy. Daddy is her boy. I'm the also ran in the relationship. So if Daddy is not there, she will be fine with me. But from the time she hears him, he's a teacher.
Yes.
From the time she hears the gate open and she knows he's walking into the house, her face gets serious and she strains to hear his every footstep.
Yes.
Until he comes into the room to say hello. He sleeps with her every night because now she is much heavier and it's hard for me to handle her. So
Yes.
he sleeps with her and she will eat better and sleep better when Daddy is there.
Is there. That is so beautiful. Well, what about the younger sibling? How is a boy? How is he coping with this?
Yes, he's the older sibling, so he was 5 when she was hurt. He's 14 now. And he is her protector. If we have to try out a new therapist or go to a new doctor, he goes as well, and afterwards he passes judgment about if he thinks they are good enough for us to continue going back.
I love it. He loves his baby sister. That's so beautiful indeed. Dr. Marcia, where can people get a copy of this book, Light the Path, so we can read the story of Emma, but we can also read about ourselves and how we can become better carers of people with disabilities?
Our website, which is Marcia, MARCIANB.com. And you can go there and sign there Amazon, also hard covers and
right. So we can go onto Amazon, we can order it from there, or we can go to your website, marcianb.com, M-A-R-C-I-A, Marcia we call it here, Marcia you call it, marcianb.com, order the book and get a copy of the book. It's going to be a good read, but I think it's going to be such comfort to some other parents as well who are battling with situations like yours as well. So Marcia, Dr. Marcia Natai Balkisoon, author of the book Living the Path. It's a story of Emma, her beautiful daughter, who is just not even 10 years old, but from 8 months old has been battling and living, and she's now living in a vegetative state, as the doctors have said. But it's a good book that gives us courage, gives us hope as we light the path.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and I wish you best of luck. And I wish her well as she continues to grow and to bring that big bright smile to your face and to Daddy's face as well. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Pearson. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye indeed. What a story. Morning Barbados continues right after this. Have you ever heard of Barrel Decor? Have you ever? Seriously, the business, Barrel Decor. Then you must have heard of Russell Manning, who joins me now to talk a little bit about that and his journey through his DIY projects. Russell, good morning to you.
Good morning, Pearson. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, good. Now you own Barrel Decor, and it was in the lockdown that something happened that caused you to along this path. What happened?
Well, I began by just cutting some barrels and making planters for our home garden, and we did some further research and discovered some very nice home items that can be made from round barrels. So I began to experiment and kind of surprised myself by turning out these pieces. And
Now, a
that's
couple
how
of
I got
things.
going.
You started because you wanted to make plant holders, really, because so obviously they're plants. So there's somebody in the family who loves plants. But then you saw barrels, and you thought, I should touch those. I should do something with those. Were you always this creative in your eyes to see the potential in everything around you?
Not in the beginning, but throughout the years, I always enjoyed customizing and doing various restoration projects, and one thing led to the next with this.
Oh, so this ain't nothing new to you.
Well, it is, working with this wood and barrels as such, but before in the past, I always tried to, be a bit more creative and do things a bit differently to, have a different appearance on items.
I can't wait to see some of the things that you've done to make it different in appearance as well. I mean, people think a rum barrel is a rum barrel is a rum barrel. You cut it in half, it's just a barrel. But look at some of the work you've been able to create. Some deck chairs as well. Hello? Is this like an ottoman?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. So it's
Yeah,
great for
this is
storage.
one of our favorite pieces. Yeah.
And this?
Yeah.
And this? What's this, Russell?
Oh, this is a planter. It's elevated on barrel stays. So I use material from barrels and attach it to the sides of a planter so it'll be elevated from the ground.
Oh, I got you. So that's what you're talking. Oh, this is beautiful. What is this?
This is a produce holder, custom made for a client who had the idea, and I gave her some options, and we managed to come up with this design, and I put it together for her. It's 2 barrels stacked, and yeah, this is one double door barrel bar. It's one of the
You gotta love
items. Side table, end table.
Yes, yes. So this is all a taste of some of the work that you do. And is there anything else you do, or is this all that you do now at Barrel Decor?
This is mainly what it all evolves around at the moment, but we will be expanding into other things. I actually have some things in the lineup new products I want to get going right now. So can expect some more new items from us, wood and metal included.
So far, so good. So how have Barbadians responded to your business efforts?
Oh, it's been very great. I've received very good feedback from family, friends, and also those who have followed the page from the first beginning and following my journey as such. And feeling very, very motivated, from the feedback that I've been getting, and it's very inspiring as well.
Just want to let people know you can find him on Instagram at Barrel Decor Barbados. Spell out the word Barbados. Barrel Decor Barbados on Instagram. And you can see all that we were just sharing with you as well, plus more. So, have you made a decision? Is this all you're going to be doing with your life going forward now, Russell? Or is this just a part of the side of what else you do?
Well, at the moment, this is it for now. I'm really focusing on the business right now and looking to expand and really make something of it, and so we just take it one day at a time and see where it goes.
What has the pandemic and the shifting of one's focus taught you?
Well, you need to be more creative in these times. You need to be innovative and just try to find what works for you and run with it.
And so far, so good. His name is Russell Manning. The business is called Barrel Decor. Of course, Barrel Decor Barbados on Instagram. And it's available. I mean, you just have a discussion with Russell. Russell can make it happen for you. Together you can create and craft just the right thing. Go ahead.
Also, Pearson, before time slips away, just as a token of my appreciation, I put together this for you. For
Look at that. Sweet. Beautiful. On air, Morning Barbados. I see it.
This is done by pyrography. This is the art of wood burning. So everything here on this plot is burnt. No paint or anything involved.
Wow.
So I placed it inside of a barrel, a round barrel ring for you.
That is beautiful. That is, thank you. The crew says thank you for today. And today's date is emblazoned on it as well. Thank you so very much, Russell. We can only wish you the very best with the business. All the very best. Remember, find him on Instagram. That's right, Russell Mann is the name. Barrel Decor Barbados on Instagram. And we wish him only the very best. Look, it is right there on your screen. Good luck. Thank you, Russell. All right, folks.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're very welcome. Before you go, a couple of things we want to remind you of. Remember, you have until the 29th to get all of your entries in for Spot the Pink Ribbon to Mornin Barbados at cbc.bb. There's Beige to the World. It's back. The launching of it is tomorrow night. You can see it here on TV8. You can hear it on 98.1 The One. That's tomorrow night. We encourage you to also to be a part of Operation Safe Space advocacy training. You can see it all. We have all of this posted on our Facebook page. And remember, this evening at 6 o'clock, Dr. Dawn Grosvenor will be doing her lecture on glaucoma, maintaining good vision for life. So be a part of that as well. This is where we got to go today. I want to thank you so much for joining us. I'll be on break for a couple of weeks. Wendy Burke will keep you company from Monday. For Nadia Foster, my producer, Rowell Ford, our technical director, Christopher Blemond, our sound engineer, and Tamisha Green at Master Control, for the small crew, to all of you, have a wonderful weekend and enjoy. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.